Straight from the studios of WXCI comes East Meets West. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Flamehawk, and we are back in action. Yes, we are.
Yes, as always, I am the Gentleman Snark, and once again introducing DinoCon.
Dinocon.
Yes,
Yes.
East Meets West is back, and we are revamped with many new facets on our tool belt. And that includes our new website, nerdent.net, which reviews many things from movies to comic books, and currently working on video games.
Yes, that's right, folks. For all those who wanted it and were waiting for it, yes, we finally got the website up and running. We do very much apologize for the long wait, but I promise you, if you go check out that website, it will be very worth it. It was very much worth the wait.
I got a quick question. Have you guys decided on like a logo or a mascot for the website? I haven't seen it yet. Currently looking it up right now.
We actually made our own logo with the help of a designer. And
Really?
we got the logo from half Kamen Riders and half Spider-Man.
That is really cool.
Although it is kind of nondescript, so we can use it in
Nice.
a non-copyrighted format.
If I remember correctly, there actually was a Kamen Rider Spider-Man crossover at one point, right? Back in the
What?
70s. Yeah.
Probably.
In the 70s.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. It was when they had the Japanese Spider-Man show.
Right.
Back when Spider-Man was, of course, a space power, and he actually did have a giant robot named Leopardon or something like that. I didn't really get it, but I do remember that the theme song as 70s Japanese geek shows it was incredibly catchy.
We will be updating this logo to fit the current new things going on in the nerd culture, such as Attack on Titan, and then when Guardians of the Galaxy comes out, Guardians of the Galaxy as well. So we'll be changing it as we need. So nice little tidbit for right there, and keep you interested.
Well, without further ado, I believe we should bring everyone a little bit up to speed as to what's been happening over this long hiatus here.
Well, I think we should start off with saying what we liked the most out of our break. And
Sure.
the thing I liked the most is Rogue One or Underworld Blood Wars, but that movie kind of disappoints. So Rogue One it is.
Well, of course, Rogue One is like the big movie event since the last Star Wars movie.
Yep.
I
Not as quite though.
Well, I have to say, I think Rogue One is a very fascinating direction for the Star Wars film franchise to go in, namely because it is not explicitly about the Jedi's versus Sith, or Jedi versus Sith rather. It's more of like a heist film almost.
It's the heist film, and it does pair the rebellion versus the Empire. So it does have some of those classic traits to it, but it has the heist film, which seems to be a common favorite along many different genres this time of year, like One Piece Film Gold, which Gentleman Snark will be mentioning in a little bit. But in Rogue One, there are many things to like, many interesting characters, but you won't get to see them again because they're all dead.
Oh,
Wah, wah, wah.
is that the lightsaber noise?
Well, speaking of heist films, we also have the new One Piece movie that came out recently in the theaters. One Piece Film Gold. Yay, that was a very interesting movie. Very interesting characters, by the way. If you want to see a more in-depth review for us talking about all the movies you hear here, just go to nerdent.net. Just that simple. But back on the whole thing on One Piece Film Gold. Pretty interesting movie, decent movie, kind of liked it. I also felt that some of the characters, at least on the bad guy side, was a little bit underutilized in my opinion. Especially Baccarat, who had the ability to manipulate luck as she wanted. Kind of felt like her ability could have been used a little bit more in the forefront of this movie, especially since the main character Luffy has been known to be very lucky in certain situations. In many of his adventures, he has been very lucky to pull through. So having the element to manipulate that kind of luck would have been a very interesting way to see that we probably could have saw more skills on Luffy's end and his crew's end. So we do see a lot more skill set in Luffy's crew, but Luffy himself is kind of based more or less pretty much same. Like as in every movie, Luffy's just always just being Luffy.
I don't like the fact that they made this basically every damn trope in the heist film. That's my complaint.
I see where you're going with that, and personally, I understand that. But if anything, in my honest opinion, they took all of the good tropes. So, and since I actually like the good heist film, I saw nothing wrong with it. No, don't get me wrong. I don't think it was perfect by any means, because another flaw that I thought it was is that, and I don't really think this is a flaw. I guess it would kind of distance new people from watching it. Maybe is that this was basically one gigantic shout out to I get One Piece fans in general, because you have so many cameos from other characters of other series, from
Yeah,
Absalom.
I was surprised to see Absalon right there.
Yeah, and then you have Wanzi, and then there's the obvious Panda Man. But Panda Man is almost like in every One Piece thing. He's like the
He's a little
Where's Waldo?
fine Where's Waldo thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Where's Waldo. So nice to see. It also the thing is, I also think that was a bit disconcerting was the fact that Rob Lucci was back along with Sabo. I just thought they were just over glorified fan service, because no matter how many times I look at the film and watch the film, they were not really needed. Like they didn't really do anything to serve the plot. It was just kind of
Speaking of not needed, what the hell was up with that gambler guy?
yeah, I don't understand. Apparently, that gambler, I think his name's Max Rainer or something like that. He was supposed like a famous gambler that worked for the revolutionaries. Like, I honestly don't know what the heck they were going with that. And to be truthfully honest, this also further goes into the fact that these characters didn't really have much of a purpose, because as soon as the movie ends, we don't really hear much from Rainer. We don't even know if Rainer even joined up with Sabo or Koala. Like, we don't know what happened. It's kind of mostly just he was there, he helped them to escape, helped the final battle, and then he just, I guess, vamoosed. I don't really know. And then there was the ending where Nami's old friend manages to, pull the wool over everyone's eyes and steal the ship.
Did
First,
did they get to the Grand Line yet?
yes, they got to the Grand Line.
Or did they leave Namek yet? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I will say this though, the movie is a very decent film for those who like some adventure and good heist films. So I mean, if you want, it's a good film, and the Funimation dub was also pretty good as well. Probably not the best, a lot of people, because a lot of people are still cringing over Luffy's voice, but better than the 4 Kids one. But let's not revisit
Whoosh.
that.
Whoosh.
One more film that I
They're
would
still
also
alive, folks. They're still alive.
one more film I'd like to bring up is the new film that has, well, it's not really new. It came out last year, but it's still garnering a whole lot of popularity, and that's Kimi no Nawa, or Your Name. That movie has still been gathering a lot of popularity, so even more so than arguably Spirited Away. So, gotta say, when I watched the movie, not exactly what I expected. Like I knew seeing a guy and a girl there, romance was to be expected, but the way they took the story was a very interesting way, and it was very different, at least from my personal perspective, because I don't really watch stuff of that caliber often. So it felt very different to me, and I also did enjoy the story. So it really is something to really worth looking into here. They really do a lot of they really reuse a lot of supernatural tropes with the body switching and a little bit of time traveling or whatnot. So this movie kind of has a little bit of everything for all you fans out there. So I mean, it's something really to keep an eye on. But that's enough of that. If you want to know more of our opinions on Kimi no Nawa, feel free to look at our website nerdent.net and Dinocon.
Well, actually, the one that I must say that I was fairly surprised with is that it's a franchise that is new. It is not based off of anything pre-existing, at least to the best of my knowledge. It is a Netflix original television series that, believe it or not, I found out from my younger brother. He's a really big fan of it, and it's called Troll Hunters. And it is an animated series directed, I believe, by Guillermo del Toro, or I believe he was the producer. But you will know Guillermo del Toro from various horror films such as Mama. He did Pan's Labyrinth. He did the Hellboy films. He did Pacific Rim. And Troll Hunters acts very similarly to a anime series in that It's all about power levels. It's all about finding the next artifact that gives you the super cool new weapon.
I found it was much like, I'm not sure if you would agree with this, but it was like the Labyrinth series with the David Bowie. Plus,
Yes, actually, it did feel a lot sort of. It felt like a cross between Jim Henson and Jack and Daxter.
yeah,
The first one.
Yeah.
And by that I mean that it's very colorful, it has a lot of fun shapes. The plot is basically around like these middle school kids or whatever. One of them
high school.
Oh,
yeah.
they're in high school. Okay. And they find like a secret like magic crystal or something, and then they find out that trolls are real, and they have a secret city underneath the town. Or actually, now that I think about it, I'm kind of getting a Buffy the Vampire Slayer now that kind of vibe. But it's a cute cartoon. It's TVY7. There's plenty of sword fighting, sorcery. There's I don't know if I would say violence per se, but even though it's a kid's cartoon, it's like the kind of cartoon you're like, yeah, I would totally be down with my son, watching a show like that.
There were some very dark moments in the series.
for
There's
a
some
kid's
very
cartoon,
dark.
for a kid's cartoon, there are some pretty dark moments. Villainous plotting. I think one or two characters die and stuff like that. It's pretty intense for a kid's cartoon, and I was pleasantly surprised. I've been disappointed before in like action cartoons geared for young tweens and whatnot, but like I said, this is definitely the kind of cartoon that I would totally be down with my kids watching.
One fact I don't like about it is, I know you agree with this too, it's the
Yes.
animation.
Yes,
It's standard.
Well, while it does have a good aesthetic, even though a lot of the trolls suffer from what I refer to as a tumbler nose. It's when they have like the separate nose, kind of like those bird people from Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. The way they move is like a little stiff, which is a shame because there's fair amount of detail. It kind of looks like those non-Disney, non-DreamWorks animated CGI movies, like Blue Sky animation, where like characters kind of move like a little funny. But kids they don't care about that kind of stuff.
I was half expecting, Claire, the main female protagonist, the love interest.
The love interest of the main character. Yeah.
I thought she was going to turn into Ladybug. That's how much they look like a Ladybug. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow.
Now that's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah, it is animated similarly a little bit to Ladybug. It's not on the same level as, let's say, Ruby.
No, definitely not.
But hey, you know what? Like I said, kids don't care. If you, like me, babysit and you're looking for something good for the kids, this show is just fine. And a good thing I will say about it is that a lot of modern cartoons I noticed are written by like young adults who are on the internet too often. Like Regular Show and this is not the kind, or like Rick and Morty or things like that. Like, this is not one of those shows. You can tell that they're trying to go for it. It's more wholesome is what I'm trying to get. Like, there is a more wholesome vibe to it. So I know that that might sound like a bit of a detractor, but it's a cute show. I would highly recommend it for young kids. While, I wasn't super into it because it's, not my demographic, I must say I was pleasantly surprised.
The one thing that might make this program harder to continue is that the main character, Jim Lake, was played by Anton Yelchin.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he died last year. So how that's going to work, I mean, they can probably get someone to have a similar voice, but it's just not going to be the same. It's unfortunate, but it's what is.
Well, I understand that, but not to denigrate Anton Yelchin's passing, but this is sort of a thing that I find DreamWorks falling into this trap a lot, is that they'll pay for a big-name actor to do a voiceover, but they don't have a unique voice. Like, for example, I have a very recognizable voice. It's very velvety and has cadence to it. No, I'm kidding. But like, for example, in Kung Fu Panda, it's Jack Black, but you don't know that Tigress is Angelina Jolie. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Yeah. But hey, Kelsey Grammer plays one of the main characters in it, which is funny because
Yeah.
I was listening to it. And I'm like, who is that? I know that voice, and then it was Kelsey Grammer. I'm like, oh, huh,
Mhm.
kind of fun. But yeah, speaking of big name stars, let us transition over to our next story, which is the new trailer release for the upcoming Logan movie. Now, we talked about this in a previous episode, wherein we were all a little bit verklempt from the trailer because it was very emotional. They had the Johnny Cash's Hurt in the
Mhm.
background. It was going to be Hugh Jackman's last romp, or not even romp, so much
Last
as like,
stand.
yeah,
I guess.
no. Oh, you jerk. No, but no, it is supposedly going to be his last film as Wolverine, and they released a new trailer which has a little bit of a lighter vibe to it. We don't really get too much new information other than other than we get to see more of X-23 in action.
Oh, she goes off on everybody.
Oh,
Yep,
man.
no one is
Everybody.
safe.
Yeah,
no one is safe.
Yeah, she goes ham on
Yep.
the store clerk who's just trying to do his job.
Yep.
Like, I worked retail. I know how it is. Like, you get kids who are, problems in the store, and you're like,
Mhm.
okay, kids, let's no. But no, she like nearly kills him
Yep.
because he tried to take away her
Pringles.
her Pringles.
Hey, to be honest, there has been moments that I've been very hungry, and I'm just like, if anyone tried to take food away from me, I do the same thing. I go ham on them. So,
Yeah, you
no
get
fairness.
hangry.
Yeah, I get hangry. Yeah.
And we also get to see a little bit more of the villain, whose name escapes me. But the blonde guy. Although now that I think about it, I think we may have actually seen our first glimpse of Mr. Sinister, because there is a brief shot of a man in a white coat wearing sunglasses, and he has slick backed hair. I think that might have been supposed to be Mr. Sinister, although I'm not sure. But yeah, I think that this is shaping up to possibly be it's going to be not a sleeper hit, but it's going to be one of the movies where it's like, what else is coming out this year? As far as comic book movies,
We already talked about
Guardians of the
Wolverine,
Galaxy
Guardian
2,
of the
right?
Galaxy.
or is that 2018?
That's this year, March or May.
Okay.
We have Spider-Man in July, and
Homecoming?
we have Homecoming, and we have Ragnarok, Thor
Okay.
in November.
Well, I think that out of the comic book films that are coming out,
plus DC.
okay, yeah, out of the comic book films that are going to be coming out, I have a feeling that this one might not make the most money, but it will get the best reviews.
I will agree. I will
can
agree
see
with that.
I can see that.
From the Marvel side, maybe DC can turn the trend around with Wonder Woman, but we'll see.
Well, by that I mean that this movie is going to be. I don't want to say that it's going to. It's not like Guardians of the Galaxy or Spider-Man, wherein you can bring your kids. This movie is going to be like for older audiences, and as such, it's going to. I'm not saying that the other films are going to be less serious, but Logan is definitely going to deal with more dramatic themes to it. It's going to be similar to The Wolverine, where it didn't have as many. It didn't feel as much like a Kate movie. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
I know exactly what you mean. I can see that though. Now that you mentioned it, I definitely can see that. But also, we also got the Power Rangers trailer today, and we get to see like everything from the transformation scene from Zordon to like damn near everything.
Yeah, and this is like the exact opposite of dramatic. This is definitely, you can tell they're gonna like camp it up a little bit.
I did like how in the trailer they kind of did a bit of a subtle joke, which was probably like a callback to the old series where they were in the water and everybody noticed that their color was out. And that
Yes.
one guy was just like, "Oh my gosh, I'm black," and then
He's Asian, but he's Asian.
he's like, "No, you're not."
Yeah.
I thought that was like a good like subtle callback to the old series. So
Or-
Where it was like,
Or as Chris Rock would say, he's Blackanese.
well, well, in all seriousness, no. I remember in the and I didn't catch this as a kid. I didn't catch that the Black Ranger was black and the Yellow Ranger was Asian.
College Humor got that though.
Oh yeah.
Oh
They-
boy, did they!
Yeah. I mean, well, what else could you? Well, hold on. I remember that in Power Rangers, what was it, Wild Force? The Red Ranger was more of like a wild
Mm-hmm.
guy, so it's like, oh, the Red Ranger is the native. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of racial stereotypes in the Power Rangers.
Not just from the characters, but from like the monsters, where they would have
Oh yeah.
like weird like monsters based off of famous. Oh wait, actually, this is something I just realized while watching the trailer. The rock monsters.
Yep.
That's supposed to be the Putty Patrol.
Yep.
Oh man, and they're not even really putty. They're like,
Rock.
yeah.
It's clobbering time.
Yeah, no, it's morphin time.
Oh yeah, it's morphin' time. That's it.
I'm not gonna lie though, when they said that line in the movie, I
Mhm.
was like, yes, but no.
They could have done it better. They could have done it better. Like I
Yeah.
felt they were trying to be a bit too edgy when he said it's morphin' time. I felt they were trying to be too edgy with that.
And you can, with the way they filmed this, it's not like the fan made thing that came out a year or two ago. This is not going to be that edgy. You can't be. This movie has to be kind of campy and
Basically, this is
nostalgic
gonna be for everyone here.
to
This is gonna be for
basically
kids too. So
bring back the movie and to make it good.
Yeah, this is definitely gonna. You know what? This is gonna feel a lot more like. It's gonna feel a lot more like the first Power Rangers movie,
Mm-hmm.
the Ivan Ooze, rather than the actual TV show itself.
Yep.
Because the TV show itself, it did have a little bit of an edge to it in that Ivan Ooze preyed upon like youth culture and stuff like that to sell his product, and there was the whole aspect of it being like their suits were like weirder looking, like they weren't made of cloth. They actually looked like they were actual like suits of armor.
Mm-hmm.
And there was also the aspect of like them going on the hero's journey, like they also always have to go to like the mysterious island where there's the person who teaches them how to use the thing to do the new thing.
Yep.
And I definitely get sort of like that vibe where it's like, oh, we're all misfits at school, but we all have to like work together to like become a team, and we have solidarity.
the rebels coming together.
Yeah, the plucky young rebels to fight against. Although, as far as aesthetics are concerned, I was, this is the thing. Here's the thing. I did like how the Zords move, and I did like how they transformed together.
Yep.
And I did like how they had Rita with the putties, and I did like the costumes. But the problem is that once you try to make it look realistic, all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, how did they decide on this again? Like, how did they decide, okay, we're going to have a pterodactyl that turns into a plane and it's going to be pink.
That's
Like,
pretty damn hard to make that realistic.
Yeah, that is.
It works later when they would have like cars or
Yep.
like trucks that
Yep.
would transform together, because then you got like Transformers, but then it's like, oh, a blue Triceratops. Well, why though? Like,
Yeah, it's hard to make the whole animal thing work.
yeah,
Another thing that I'm pretty much gonna like. I know I've mentioned this before, but the more I'm watching this, the more I'm really expecting that this film is probably gonna get a sequel to it, only because I really want to see the Green Ranger come up. Like, I really want to see that happen.
oh yeah,
And because we already know, those who watch the original know that the original couple was always green and pink. And in this trailer, we see red and pink are the ones getting it on. So I really just want to see the Green Ranger to come in and just really just throw the whole typhoon in it.
Was it pink or was it yellow? I forget. Is yellow
I
the
believe it was
Hispanic
pink.
girl?
I believe it was pink, unless I'm mistaken. I'm not entirely sure.
See, here's the thing with these teen actors, I can never remember their names.
Same. I believe the Yellow Ranger is Becky G, and I think the pink one is Naomi Scott.
And she's the blonde one, right?
Naomi Scott. I think I don't even know.
You think they'd name the blonde one Becky because she looks like a Becky, but you know,
Yep.
it's actually now that Gentleman Snark mentions it, having like a love triangle between the Red Ranger, the Green Ranger, and the
Mhm.
Pink Ranger would be a very that would actually probably make for a great dynamic.
Especially since the Green Ranger started off evil.
Yes,
Yeah.
Especially that.
yes, because then he's got like the whole like bad boy type of thing going
Mhm.
for him. That would probably, wow, we basically have already come up with the plot to the sequel.
You're welcome. If you want it, $1 million.
There you
A little
go.
bit more, right?
Yeah,
A little bit more than 1 million.
and
Or
Show
just like
us
a
the
subtle,
money.
or just like
Show
a
us the
subtle
money.
cameo of Nerd and EMW. Just a subtle cameo. Whatever.
Make us a Silver Ranger.
no, dude, I want to be the Quantum Ranger. He had the best Zord.
True.
It was like the black and red
Mm.
Shadow the Hedgehog T-Rex looking
Yeah.
thing.
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
The best Zord.
Yes.
It was so edgy, but
Mm.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, speaking of edgy, Sony is working on a new Spider-Man film, and no, it is not the animated Peter Parker film that is scheduled to come out in the next following years. It is actually a animated film that brings comic book and CGI together, kind of like a video game, to make Miles Morales a feature in his own movie.
Okay, first of all, I for one am very happy about this. But second of all, CGI and comic books coming together. Now, if we're going off the famous game, I believe it was called The Ultimate Spider-Man,
Yes.
visually this can look good for a video game. But as for a movie, I have some questions for that. A lot of questions. Like, if this is going to be for a movie, the anime, even if they're combining the comics and the CGI aspect together, it has to be on point because we all know for a video game that's passable because we get to do the action.
Right.
Not to mention, let's be real, when we see some of those cutscenes, there was like a lot of stuff, like maybe like a few glitches here and there. You can't really allow that in a movie. Like, that's not like critics are going to eat you alive for that. Let's be real.
Hello.
So, I'm just,
Waiting that up for that critic when we can lambaste this movie.
yeah, I'm just,
Well, there's a very important factor, and it's important. I'm glad that you brought this up. That it could look, awkward because when I think of okay, what would if I were to pick a comic book art style to go with this movie, I would probably want to go with the one that I don't know if they've changed artists for Miles Morales as of, they probably have.
They've changed a few times.
Yeah, but like the original run when he first started, the look for it, I don't want to say it didn't look comic booky, but because that doesn't really make sense. But you brought up Ultimate Spider-Man. Excuse me, when they had the art style for it, it used a lot of like thick lines, and it used like a lot of like it looked kind of like the Sly Cooper games.
yes.
It looked kind of like those. Or that one game, 13 with David Duchovny. But anyway, that look would look really cool, but it's not the art style that's, people associate with the Miles Morales comic books. Similarly, you might want to use like the more vintage style where it has like those dots, like, like the curb, like Jack Kirby,
Yep.
or, that famous painting of like the comic book art girl crying, and they have like the dots all over her skin to make it look pink.
Yep.
That would be cool because that's an iconic comic book art look, and it would probably be really neat. See, it's bringing up bad memories of when another game I was thinking of, Okami.
Yes.
Right.
That was a really, really great example.
Yes.
Or what Tangled was supposed to look like. It was supposed to look like an oil painting, but moving. And of course, we ended up not getting that. So my concern is that if they do try and go for that comic book aesthetic, it won't look like the actual Miles Morales comic books that they have, and then they'll probably have to change it to make it look like that. But then at the same time, if they do try and make it look like the Miles Morales comic books, then it will, I don't want to say it'll look like a typical CGI movie because the artwork is fairly realistic, But it's like you got to work with that balance to find what it is that you want to go for. Another thing that I wanted to talk about this movie is that I'm curious as to how this is going to affect Spider-Man: Homecoming, because this is supposed to both films are supposed to get theatrical releases. Personally, I would like for this to go direct to DVD or Netflix. Not because I don't want him to have a theatrical release or something, but DC is really churning out a lot of animated movies, and they are for the most part really, really good. And I think that Marvel should really try and like get into that market too.
Well, it should still be under the Sony camp.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it would still be under the Sony camp.
Oh, okay.
Everything animated will be still staying with Sony, while everything live action, I don't know about everything, but most live action things will be going to the Marvel camp.
Wait, then how did they get Ultimate Spider-Man the cartoon to cross over with the Avengers cartoon?
Movies are in a separate ballpark for the licensing rights with them. They only sold off the
live action.
But for any cartoon-based thing, they are still the rightful owners of, except for, I think there's like some fine line that if it's any movie that's like
This is so confusing.
theatrical, yeah, it's so confusing.
Paperwork.
Basically, bureaucracy. Sony still has some of the rights to a theatrical release of Peter Parker in the Spider-Verse.
With all the paper that they use for these forms, they could probably use it to actually animate a 2D movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's make it a flip book.
Now, does that mean that this is not going to have any sort of connection with Spider-Man: Homecoming?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Or not any direct. It might have some kind of outside stimulus, but like a cameo here and there, but it will be mostly a standalone paired along with the Peter Parker cartoon as well.
Honestly, depending on how good or bad Homecoming is, they might either make these just subtle cameos or probably subtle insults towards Homecoming.
Exactly.
That, and we have to also focus on the whole lore behind Miles Morales being in an alternate universe, and that in his universe, Peter Parker's already been dead. So the cameos of at least seeing Peter Parker is inevitable, but whether or not it'll have any be kind of a subtle nod to Homecoming, I doubt it. But I guess it's possible in a very subtle way.
If they're going, since this is going to be Miles Morales's, since this is going to be his big screen debut, I think as far as the plot is concerned, I think they should probably take a little bit more of an Ant-Man approach, in the sense that instead of having Peter Parker be dead, because then that opens up like a big Pandora's box of like, kids going, wait, what do you mean Peter Parker is dead? Like, just have it be like in the future, and then simply have Peter Parker be, older.
So Iron Man. That was a joke, because of the new comics and his new direction in the comics. He's a clone. Peter Parker is a clone of Iron Man now. Not a clone, but like
not an actual one, but his characterization is pretty much ripped out of Tony Stark.
Oh, yeah. Well, in that case, like I was saying about Ant-Man, like Hank Pym is an older guy, and then they just have him be like the scientist who discovered Pym particles.
Yeah.
And that way you can just have like Scott Lang actually like be, that was his name, right? Scott Lang. Yeah. Have him be the actual Ant-Man. And so with this, you could be like, yes, I am Peter Parker. You already know who or like with Star Wars: The Force Awakens, like everyone already knows who Peter Parker is, but eventually he's going to get old. And then you can set up for, oh hey, who's going to be Spider-Man now, and then you can have it be Miles Morales.
Kind of like what MCU is doing with Steve Rogers.
I'm not sure if they're gonna do that though, because they've kind of been. Let's be real. Peter Parker, at least as far as in the silver screen, and no matter what medium, he's not going anywhere, and he's not going to be retiring. So personally, I understand what you're saying about having Peter Parker like old and retired, and probably training Miles Morales to take up the mantle. But in my honest opinion, to really make Miles Morales stand out, I just prefer we just kill off Peter Parker at this point. Like, I'm for that.
They're not going to do that.
I know they're not going to, but that's my honest opinion. I think that's the best thing to do.
Daddy, did you see that Spider-Man's dead? It was like, no, son, we're actually going to see Spider-Man later. But what happened to the, it is, we'll have to wait and see. Because, like you guys mentioned, this project is probably very contingent on how well Spider-Man Homecoming does. So if Spider-Man Homecoming does really well, critically and at the box office, because don't forget, even though Amazing Spider-Man 2 did well at the box office, it did not do well with critics, and they ended up canceling it, or rather ending it there. So I don't know, like these types of things, it's frustrating because you'd think it would be super easy, like just hold an open forum to fans, being like, what do you guys think we should do? But they never do.
So now switching over to the DC side of things, Shazam and Black Adam will be in 2 separate movies, while it was reported that they might be in one movie since the connection of Shazam and Black Adam. Now, Black Adam will be played by The Rock. However,
his name is Dwayne Johnson now.
All right, he's always The Rock. He's always gonna be The Rock.
Can you smell what Rock is cooking?
No, because the mic just got blurred out by that.
Don't care. I have to do it.
Well, Dwayne Johnson has basically been Black Adam forever, and even before they were originally going to do that, he's known too. He's known that literally everyone and their mom wants him to be Black Adam. But who I think should play Shazam, since they haven't picked him, and you're not going to see this one coming, John Cena.
What?
I think that John Cena should be Captain Marvel. I think that would be fantastic because, number one, he is funny, and he knows how to be funny. Number two, he knows how to do action movies. Number three, he likes doing stuff, for kids. He was in that Scooby-Doo movie. And that's Warner Brothers, who, he's already worked with Warner Brothers. And four, you would have 2 wrestlers in the movie, one playing the hero and one playing the villain. So you wouldn't even need CGI to do the fight scenes.
The one problem I have with John Cena is that he is not a great actor. I'm sorry, but
do we really need good acting for the Captain Marvel movie?
But for DC,
they need it.
They
DC definitely needs
They need some upgrades. Now, there has been some speculated rumors that Blue Mountain State's in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, as long as the Hunger Games series, Alan Ritchson has been in the running. So I believe he'd be a good addition to the film, and he has some groundwork going as the rumors are already starting. But to be honest, the early actors in the rumors are never the character.
Remember when Justin Timberlake was almost cast as Green Lantern, or when everyone thought that Beyonce was going to play Wonder Woman?
Oh, how about Ronda Rousey in frickin' Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
Miss Marvel? Or
No,
Ms.
Captain Marvel.
Captain?
Okay.
Oh,
this
MC
Captain. Okay. This one is Shazam. We're gonna call him Shazam because that's what you say
And the
when
other-
you do the transformation.
And the others is Carol Danvers.
Yeah, MCU. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, that ain't happening, folks.
Oh, come on, Ronda Rousey.
She's dead. The dream is dead.
1,
The
2, 3,
dream
KO.
is dead.
Aw.
The dream. 2016 had to take one more person.
And her name is Ronda Rousey.
No,
Or at least you thought until they saw Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mariah Carey was the last celebrity to die in 2016, and she had the decency to do it on stage in front of everybody.
Damn.
She took that L. Oh
shit.
my god.
No, she didn't take the L or any letters because her mic wasn't working. No, but in all seriousness, folks, the thing about Captain Marvel is that they could easily get away with a no-name actor. No offense, Alan. Because this is, for the most part, it's like when Iron Man first came out. Yeah, people knew that Iron Man existed, but he wasn't like in the public discourse as much. And then everyone was like, "Wow, guys, Iron Man! Who knew?" And so I think that Shazam might be in the same vein in that people are like, "Yeah, I know, like you know who he is, and you know that he exists, but he doesn't have the huge star power." But then again, they're hopefully doing the same with like lots of other characters as well. My God, they're never gonna get Aquaman to be like, "Hey guys, I heard Aquaman is a good movie." Like they're never gonna get people to say that, even if it is a good movie.
Yeah, because I don't know. They did take a new turn with Jason Momoa instead of the Mr. Whitebread way they were going with Aquaman before. But now it.
Wait, no, this guy was Aquaman on Smallville.
Yes.
When we looked it up
Yes.
earlier, he actually was Aquaman during Smallville for like 4 episodes.
At the very least, it shows the guy has some history with action movies.
Sure.
But
Back to the talk on how you were saying about no-name actors. They can get away with no-name actors for Shazam. I kind of want to disagree with that, only because we have to focus on the fact that Shazam isn't just the adult hero. He also doubles as the kid.
Yeah.
They need to get a decent child star in this as well, and they gotta find a way to work that whole character dynamic here. And to find one to work with John Cena, in my honest opinion, now, unless anyone here or in the comments section or whatever wants to try to prove me wrong here, I don't see that happening. Do you?
You could get because the thing is that, well, this is difficult because at the same time I want
exactly. My point exactly.
And then you have to deal with the whole Marvel family. I mean, dang it, not Captain Marvel, Shazam. Okay. See, this is the problem with these names, is that they had Captain Marvel because this character was like around during what, the 40s?
Yeah,
Or
earlier.
something.
Yeah.
And so like then you have a Mary Marvel, and it's like, well, are they going to change her name? If so, to what?
I mean, personally, I think this is probably why nothing has been confirmed on who's gonna play Shazam, because they essentially have to look for 2 actors, one child star and one that's older. The thing, they were able to get Dwayne Johnson to play Black Adam as well. Like you said, everybody wanted him to play that, and 2, it's just one guy. They just needed one guy for that, and that one guy was pretty much a very fan favorite here. For Shazam, now, color me if I'm wrong, I have not been hearing much of fan favorites actors wanting to play Shazam. Like anybody heard of this?
Other than the guy we just mentioned, no.
Yeah, other than Alan Richardson, who he himself has expressed interest, and I haven't heard anybody for Shazam. So.
The one question I have is, now that they're breaking this off into 2 separate movies, who will Shazam face? Because Black Adam was always his number 1 rival. So, I mean, they could bring in Captain Nazi, yeah, but Dr. Shivani...
Speaking of white bread. or well, actually,
you mean
rye bread.
Wunderbread?
Wunderbread. No, but I know that there's Dr. Sivana, and he was sort of like the arch nemesis of Captain Marvel. If in case you folks didn't know, Captain Marvel, or Shazam rather, was not always a DC Comics character. He was actually the character of this one company called Fawcett Comics. Now, Fawcett Comics, he was the main headliner, and there was actually a point where Captain Marvel, his sales were rivaling that of Superman, believe it or not, because they're fairly similar. But then when they started having difficulty in sales, DC bought Fawcett Comics and all of the characters mixed in. Yeah, I know what you guys are laughing at. Hold on, we'll get to that in a second. One thing that always stuck out in my mind was that fight scene between Captain Marvel and Superman during Justice League Unlimited. And that is considered one of the best fight scenes in the whole show. I think that if they're going to have people facing off with each other, I do think that having a meeting, because we've had Batman versus Superman. I think that having a character like Captain Marvel or Shazam or whatever meet Superman would definitely be awesome, because Billy Bostwick, I think the kid's name is, he sort of looked up to Superman in a way, depending on like what continuity you're reading. So I think that sort of, maybe like a friendly sparring match between him and Superman, I think would make for very, very great entertainment. And also, I think it would be really cool because, Batman versus Superman is always the famous one, but Batman had to get a suit. Also, to fight Superman. Also, it's worth noting that kryptonite is not Superman's only weakness, but he's also fairly weak against magic. And Captain Marvel is magic base, his powers. So I think that would make for a very, very interesting fight. So I think that would probably make for basically every time a DC comic hero has a sequel, they're basically going to fight against Batman or Superman.
Or they can't. I
got this. There is one villain that they probably could use.
And who's that, Gentleman Stark?
They could have Shazam instead of Captain Nazi. They could have him up against ISIS.
You know what? I hear that ISIS is very villainous.
Oh yes, he can control the aspects of nature in certain areas. So
like the sand.
Yes.
Over here. Okay. In case if you folks don't get this, ISIS is the name of a villainess of Captain Marvel's. And when we say ISIS, it's important to remember that all of these villains are based off of like
mythology.
Yeah, mythology.
Egyptian mythology.
Yeah, kind of like how Wonder Woman has like the Greek mythology thing. Shazam has, or Shazam or whatever, has a little bit more Mediterranean, Semitic, Persian, the Middle Eastern mythology. So, and one of those is named after the Egyptian god Isis. Now, if you want to have, because John Cena was a Marine, you can have the Marine versus ISIS.
Oh my god!
No! Oh my! No!
But here's the other funny aspect. Here's the other funny thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Shazam has the mind of a little boy, right? ISIS is a very scantily clad woman. So if you were to have John Cena the Marine, but he's got the mind of like a 10-year-old kid fighting against the scantily clad ISIS, which is totally haram. Absolutely haram. Like, you could, like, people would be talking about this movie, like,
Okay. I'm going to take the helm here.
You thought Batman attracted terrorist attacks in the theaters.
Okay.
Wait till you see.
Before this becomes our last show, let's go to another topic, please. Before this becomes our last show, let's go to another topic, please.
Too soon? We can cut that out in post.
No.
Nah.
No.
This is better than the blue senzu bean joke.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Okay.
In other news, Warner Brothers is eyeing to make their own Attack on Titan movie using the producer from Harry Potter, as if trying to make a Death Note series wasn't good enough. But they're taking Attack on Titan too, or going to try to.
This is really taking Fantastic Beasts and telling them where to find them.
Yeah, it is.
They're not hard to miss.
Nope.
They're kind of. But
I don't know what to expect here, because I'm pretty sure ever since Attack on Titan pretty much took off in Japan, the West kind of tried to market them off as much as possible, especially that joint comic they made with the basically Marvel heroes versus the Titans.
I
And
was not a fan of that at
me
all.
neither, because to be truthfully honest, this was just kind of them saying America is awesome.
Because
Although it is true, well, we don't need to be freaking telling that in the comics.
well, the thing about Attack on Titan is that the Titans they breached the wall. So we need to build
Oh
a
my god.
wall, and
Oh my God.
It ju-
America has just the right people to build this wall to keep out. No, but
It's gonna be huge.
yeah, it
Huge.
seriously is.
10 feet. It's just got 10 feet higher.
Oh gosh.
But the thing about Attack on Titan is that it's a very, very simple concept. It's like, there's giant monsters. They run around. It's like, you know what it reminds me of? You know that iconic shot of Gulliver's Travels where he's
Yep.
lying on the ground and like all the little people have like the ropes over
And he's
him
all
and stuff?
tied up. Yeah.
It's like kind of like a more violent version of that.
Yep.
There's still like the ropes and there's still the little people, but like they're cutting up Gulliver. And it's frustrating because if they were to do an American version of it or a Western adaptation of it, are they going to go for directly adapting the manga / anime, or
Doubt it.
or are they going to adapt the live action movie that came out of Japan?
Ugh.
Oh god.
And the reason why I'm fearful that it's more likely going to be the latter is because the latter had more of a post-apocalyptic look to it. It looked like, there was like piping. It looked very industrial. It looked like it could have happened maybe 50 or 60 years from now. Whereas Attack on Titan looked like it took place so far into the future. Attack on Titan, the live action, was a little bit more Hunger Games, whereas Attack on Titan, the anime, was a little bit more. I want to say, what was that really bad science fiction movie? Your or whatever it was, where it's like it's so far into, or like Planet of the Apes, where it's like they're so far into the future that they forgot basically everything about the modern world.
Yep.
And I'm worried that they're going to go with the live action version because modern audiences, they're not going to look at, rather, I don't want to say, they're not going to want to look at, the cute little Tudor style houses and like a pretty castle, because goodness knows, Lord of the Rings was a major box office success.
Plus, Warcraft was pretty decent.
Yeah, Warcraft did well. The Harry Potter films are popular. So there is an eye for fantasy, but I'm just worried that they'll make it less about fantasy and more about science fiction, like a hard science fiction.
Like a Godzilla kind of like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the live action from Japan is like they took every single bad element from all the classic Godzilla battles and just morphed it into that movie.
That's what I talk about morphin' time.
Oh my gosh.
All right, I'm glad you enjoyed our final show before we're taken off air for what we said.
Oh, God.
We didn't curse, and
We
we
didn't
didn't make any naughty jokes.
No, just talking about ISIS and other things. So, thank you for staying with us in this interesting episode.
If anything, check out our website. We'll still be up there. Nerdent.net.
We're not going anywhere from there.
Actually, I just realized something. Speaking of Lord of the Rings, Ent, it's like the tree people.
Yep.
And trees don't move much. So
True.
no, we're not moving anywhere.
That's a good point.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere from Nerdent, at least. YouTube, however.
But we are hoping to branch out.
Yes, we are.
We're not leafing anytime soon.
From the website. WXCI, do not hate us or give us any
No, I'm
bad
sure we'll
fan
be
mail.
I'm sure we'll be fine. But no, in all seriousness though, also make sure to check out our Twitter over at
At Meets
At
West.
Meets West. Yep.
At Meets West. And also make sure to tune in next week.
Hopefully.
Next week, Friday at
4
Friday at
p.m.
4. Awesome.
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard up until it meets Western Standard Time.
Exactly.
Because then it'll be Eastern Standard Time.
East-
You get the idea.
East meets West. Yes.
Yes.
But
Well,
anyways,
it's time
I
to
am
sign off.
Flamehawk.
As always, I'm the Gentleman Snark.
And I am DinoCon.
Hopefully, we will see you next week. If
Hopefully not be Dino gone.
Yeah.